Tom Albano here for Fansided MMA. Bellator 289 takes place next week on December 9th. I'm joined by Patchy Mix. We'll be fighting Magomedov in one of the semifinal bouts for the Bellator Bantamweight Grand Prix. Patchy, thanks so much for joining.
How you doing, bro? I feel good, man. I feel good. Soon to be the Grand Prix, interim Bellator champion Grand Prix winner. Soon to be.
Good to see you feeling good. Apologies to you and to the viewers out there for my raspy voice. Just getting over a bit of a cold as of late. Just to start things off, though, with this fight with Magomed. So you and Magomed, at least in my opinion, are going to be presenting a really interesting matchup because you're both wrestlers, both submission artists. You obviously based in you wrestled in high school. You came up with the American wrestling style. Plus, you have the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Magomed, of course, comes from the Dagestani style of wrestling,
Yeah.
and they've talked about the differences. Several fighters talked about the differences between the American Dagestani styles.
Yeah.
What do you make of your of
I'm in
Magomed's?
my own style, though. I don't have that true American style wrestling. Like, I'm very funky and crafty. I'm just in my own style. I didn't wrestle like highly collegiate. I went to MMA at a young age. I'm just a hybrid. I could wrestle and do jujitsu at the highest level without a gi on against the highest level. So I've trained with some very high level guys. In the build up for this one, I trained with JT Torres when I was back home. Gary Tonin last year. Some other guys too, that are Andy Varala. Some real good hybrids in jiu-jitsu and wrestling. So like, I feel like that's going to be my true. Let's say, it'll be my true like. This will be my coming out party to go against that specific style that he has.
Which is funny you bring that up because I was going to mention that there's very few fighters who have been able to get past Magomed and his style. Obviously, Ralph Yan had the victory over him several months back. I think Peter Yan in the UFC managed to eke out
Yeah,
a win against him. And you feel like with this mix that you've been brought up with, it'll help translate to a
I'm
victory.
a whole different style than both those guys and a whole different animal, I think, just to say. Rufian was able to out grapple him, and I'm a better grappler than him, you know what I mean? And MMA, he could be the better little collegiate wrestler or whatever. I don't even know if he'd beat me in that, but maybe, I don't know. But MMA style, you know what I mean? I'm holding the ace card here. I feel like if he was able to do that to him, my style is way better than that. And I feel like he's been able to get out of trouble against some other guys too. Enrique Barzola was able to take his back, take him down 4 out of 6 times, win rounds on him. Uh, that Matias guy, the Brazilian guy, was able to take his back early in the fight. I mean, just other guys have been able to out grapple him. I think that Maga's he's more dominant in his striking. His kicks and his unorthodox, his craftiness. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
wouldn't say like his wrestling and his grappling is his ace card.
Now, going on to a different perspective of the fight. Obviously, you've challenged for the Bellator Bantamweight Championship before when you and Guan Archuleta fought for the vacant title. You came very close, fell short. Does that give you a little extra motivation heading into this semifinal bout?
No, it just sucks to lose. Like in a perfect world, I want to be 17-0 right now, but I fought Juan when I was younger and chose to, take the fight underneath, like without like I needed to prepare more when I was at that age, but I didn't have experience fighting for world titles. I just thought like this is what you do to prepare. You know what I mean? At the time, because I had been winning fights and taking out all these guys. But you really have to do like 8 to 10 weeks, like dedicated and freaking like super strict. Like you know what I mean? I think we got the fight pulled because he had COVID on July 24th, and then they called me and we rebooked it for like September 12th, and I fought him like 3 or 4 weeks out of that. You know what I mean? So they gave me a call back. But this time it just shows that I'm more prepared for me. Like before I go into the fight. Like the main problem with Juan was my cardio, him having better cardio and being able to push that pace on me. And now I don't have that problem. Like I can go 10 rounds, I sparred 9 rounds yesterday. I could go 10 rounds out there. So this fight's going to be 5 rounds and not throwing all my eggs in one basket, like trying to force finishes. Like I was before that Juan fight, I finished so many people that's what I thought I had to do. Now I'm just ready, if I don't finish them, to go all day long, win every round if I need to.
hmm Now, on the other side of the bracket, in the main event of Bellator 289, you got the interim title fight between Rafion and Danny Sabatello. Do you have a prediction for that fight, or do you have a preference as to who do you want to face in the final?
Yeah, I want to face a real fighter. You know what I mean? I want to face Stotts. Stotts is we have a little back history. He's saying that I was running from him years ago or something when they were offering me fights that didn't make sense. I was ready to fight for the title, and it's just bullshit basically. But I'd rather fight him. He's 18-1. Uh, he's got a win over Maga. They call him besides his one knockout loss he had where he got caught by Marab.
hmm
He 19-0. So I want to fight him. I don't want to fight Sabatello, who's just shooting for the legs and just like not really winning fights. He's just stalling lesser wrestlers than him out, like laying on top of them, holding on, stalling them out, like against a guy like me. I mean, I think the easier money would be Sabatello, like because he sucks and he's not that good and he doesn't fight. He's just a master at holding people and just like not stalling, which he'd never be able to do to me. So I think that would be like an easier fight because I'm bigger than him, tall, just as tall, and I just make him like you know what I mean. He's like my little brother or something. I feel, but like I want Stotts to win just because of that. And I think I could, I think I could finish out. I think I could finish anybody in the world. So, I'm coming next Friday to get a win over Maga. Hopefully, be the first guy to put him away, and then I'm coming to finish one of those two guys too.
Interesting you say that about Danny. I just spoke to Danny the other day on my podcast, and I asked him about your fight with Magomed, and he said he wasn't really confident on a winner, but he was confident that either he or Stotts could beat either of you two. And he said that you're only good if you catch a fighter's back. How would you respond to Danny?
I don't mind that guy. Don't. If you go look at Danny's fights, you know what I mean. Go look at who he's fought. I mean, he's fought, and if you go look, if you just go online and look on his fights, and go look at mine, or if we can, well, we can't really pull up the video, but I can't find the video for the life of me. But if you go watch me fight Juan Archuleta, you see how many body shots I take, and I'm fully fine walking forward trying to win the fight. Danny Sabatello literally is like 0-13 against Erwin Rivera, a guy in the UFC that my mutual opponents that I've beaten have beaten this guy. Erwin Rivera, he's not in the UFC anymore. He TKO'd Danny Sabatello and whooped his ass in the fifth round, dropped him from body shots, and Danny folded up like a lawn chair, and he's laying on the ground like upside down, sideways, and he got TKO'd, and he's almost like crying, and he went over like 13 or 15 in takedowns, and he basically just quit in the middle of the fight. So that guy talks a lot of shit, but he talks, and like there's a reason why he's barely beaten anybody. He's only held on. I have more finishes. I have just almost more finishes than he has wins. So he should shut the fuck up because when I fight his ass, I'll probably beat him. I'll probably beat him down like really severely badly. And I don't even think he makes it there. So, he just runs his mouth and all that other shit. But I don't even I don't think he'll win next week anyways, but my focus is on MAGA right now and just I'm punching my ticket to the finale, you know what I mean? This is everything to me and I want to win this $1,000,000.
Speaking of Maga, any kind of prediction for a finish that you have for Magomed? I know you said you were looking for a finish in this fight, but any kind of method, any round that you want to predict?
No, man. I got respect for his game. I just feel he gives up his back too much and I think I could take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm. All right. One last thing for me. After the December 9th card, there's a very big Bellator Rising card, New Year's time. You've done one of these interpromotional bouts. You beat Yuki Matoya at Rising 20. Even though you won't be on that card, is there any sort of advice that you would want to give to the Bellator fighters who are competing on that card, and just any thoughts about, just the general excitement as that card
I'm
approaches?
excited, man. I'm gonna tune in. I love what Bellator is doing. They're doing a great job over there in Ryzen. Scott Coker does an awesome job doing a cross promotion with them. And it was such a good experience to be involved with that for Ryzen 20. So I just want I hope Bellator gets a clean sweep on them. You know what I mean? We win the Super Fight Series, and in the future, I hope I get this belt. And who knows? Maybe me and Kyoji can run it back out there one time or something. Who knows?
All right, sounds good. Bellator 289 next week. Semifinals of the Bellator Bantamweight Grand Prix. Patchy next here will be taking on Nagomedov in the co-main event. Patchy, thanks so much for the time.
Anytime, man. I'll be ready. tune in next Friday. Vintage Patchy Mix performance 17-1, and I'm coming to do some magic out there, man. I'm gonna do some great things.